This morning I was just thinking about how much value do we put on South Africa as a country? How much is South Africa worth to you? And, I'm not really talking about emotional worth, sentimental worth, how you hold it dear to your heart. I'm talking about in terms of value. How much is it worth to you? Because I'll tell you why I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this in terms of, political parties and political campaigns and stuff like that. And I came to one conclusion that until we get to understand what the value of our country is, then we don't understand what needs to be done to make things change. And I'll start by asking you a question. How do you measure the value of a country, the worth of a country? You measure it by its economic output. And I'm not an accountant. I'm just talking on under general. So you measure the value of a country by the output that its economy actually puts out there. And what is economic output? That is the GDP of the country, right? Gross domestic product. So that's how much every year does your country put out there in terms of products and services, whatever activity that happens within its borders, how much is that worth? So at the moment in South Africa, it's about $400 billion. $400 billion is South Africa's GDP, annual GDP. And in rands, we're talking about 7 trillion rand. So the value of products and services that are happening in South Africa is worth 7 trillion rand. South Africa's value is 7 trillion rand. So ask yourself this question. If you're looking at a 7 trillion rand piece of land named South Africa, and you want to be able to one day, number one, be in charge of it and control it and improve it, the question I'll ask you is, how much are you willing to spend to get in charge or be in charge or get hold of that country? Because I'll give you another example. Well, let me put it in the form of a question. If South Africa is worth 7 trillion rand today, with all the challenges that we face as a country, crime, unemployment, the bad policy when it comes to economics, we can all agree that the 7 trillion rand, that is the value of South Africa, is not its full potential. So if South Africa is worth 7 trillion rand today, one of the biggest GDPs in Africa, it's always number one, sometimes it's on and off. But if it's worth 7 trillion rand with all the problems that we have in the country, it means that South Africa has a much bigger potential than 7 trillion rand, meaning that South Africa could easily have a GDP of 15 trillion rand, meaning that people's life can easily be better 3, 4 times over. People can have better jobs, better income, more jobs, better infrastructure.